All right. Well, as we continue on with our Mission of God for the Family series, today I want to talk about how to think about your children like they are bags of seed, or you're filling them like they're bags of seed, the same sort of way that you put out your harvest in order to bring in more seed in order to get a larger field or more seed for the next plant. To think historically, think long term about the way that your kids will impact the world and your grandkids, your great grandkids, and such. And the example that I want to use is Abraham, and we usually think the other direction with Abraham, but if we look at the way he thought about his seed, it's a really, I think, a really surprising thing for modern Westerns, because people in the modern Western world right now, what we have is an idea that our kids generally are. We have them because they will love us, right? And as Christians, we try to resist thinking this way, but this is the water that we are surrounded by. That our kids are for us. We have kids to find fulfillment. We're looking for fulfillment. Kids are fulfilling, and so we have kids. But in Genesis 15, when the first promise that Abraham will receive seed and an inheritance are given, there it's at the same time that he is told that he has to die to everything, or he has to die to his old world. So he's out in Ur. The Lord comes to him, calls him to die to himself, to walk away, to take what he has there and leave. And he doesn't have any children of his own at that point. He brings Lot with him because Lot would have been the closest thing to an heir, because it would have been his one of his nephews, right? So he brings an heir with him, but it's not his own children. And doesn't adopt Lot. It's just that's how inheritance law would have worked. So he brings Lot with him, but God says, "You're going to go down there, and I will provide for you seed." And so uh, he dies to himself. He walks away, and he is going to receive a single heir. Right? He's not going to receive a whole bunch of heirs. He's going to receive a single heir. And that looks like you're moving in the wrong direction. You've to a replacement rate is 2.1, right? If you have one child between a father and a mother, you haven't replaced the number of people in the family. It looks like the family's going in the wrong direction. But in fact, what you have is a new their single child is like a seed bag, right? You've gathered in the harvest, and you set some of the seed aside for the next generation of planting, and that's going to grow and expand, because each time you can fill more seed bags. Well, but you see that what was necessary was for Abraham to die to himself to be able to receive this blessing for his uh, children, for his grandchildren. And it says eventually the whole world will be blessed by his seed. Well, when we are told that we are children of Abraham, that we're supposed to have faith like Abraham, we're told that in the context of, we're justified by faith, um, and faith alone. We're told all of that in the context of that promise that your seed is going to bless the earth, right? That he's going to think long term about the blessings that the world is going to receive through his seed, and that it's not about him, but it's going to be about them, right? What inheritance, what blessing can I store up for them? And the primary blessing is the blessing of God, and then the other blessings all flow out of trusting the Lord and looking at the inheritance for your children and your children's children and your children's children's children, right? So it's an investment mindset about the way that we are filling our children with faith. We're teaching them to trust the Lord. We're filling our children with hope that God is good, that He doesn't just exist, but He also blesses, and love for God, love for our neighbor, and those basic virtues are the ones that all the other virtues flow out of. And blessings don't show up in a mechanistic way, right? Blessings don't just arrive. Blessings are from the hand of God. There's a personal gift that every blessing is. And so staying in a right relationship with the Lord is primary and important in all thoughts about blessings and about inheritance and leaving an inheritance, because that's where the central the heart of all inheritance is the in it being in a right relationship with the Lord who blesses. Right? So it's not, you're saying that the physical blessings that those aren't important or aren't real or anything like that. It's that the direction of flow is from the blessing of God to the gifts that come with the blessing of God Himself, right? God Himself is the primary blessing. Relationship with the Lord Himself is the primary blessing. And so there are people who die as martyrs, people who lose everything in their service of the Lord, and they are blessed because they have God Himself. But the passage in Hebrews that references this also says there are people that shut the mouths of lions. There are people that end up with enormous blessings, right? Whatever blessing that comes with the relationship with the Lord is also a blessing, right? So and here, Abraham is promised in Genesis 15. He's promised enormous blessing, including land for his descendants, and that blessing comes to him by faith, and that faith is in the promise that God is going to bless, that He's going to care for, and that He's going to expand the children and grandchildren and the descendants of Abraham into a blessing for the world. So, but that death to himself, because he didn't receive any of the land. The only thing he owned when he died was graves, his and his wife's graves. That's what he owned when he died. But the blessing remained true, that his descendants would be blessed and be a blessing, down to Jesus, who is his, he is the rightful heir of that patriarchy that God is establishing there. A patriarchy is a civil government system. It's a tribal civil government system, and the patriarch is the founder of a tribal the tribal civil government, and the firstborn of the firstborn of the firstborn legally of that patriarchate is Jesus, right? So He is the seed of Abraham, which is, in the singular, He's the seed. Now, the seed is also all of the descendants who are pictures of they're types of the receiving of blessing to become a blessing that Abraham's seed was promised. But Jesus is the ultimate seed, and then we are told that those promises become ours when we are grafted into Abraham by faith, when we are united to Christ by baptism. Those promises that our seed will be blessed, and that our seed will become a blessing, and that there would be this expanding blessedness that flows out of those people who join are joined into Abraham's family by faith. Those people will have the same sort of pattern in their lives. But notice what the pattern involves: dying to ourselves and thinking long term, dying to ourselves for the long term benefit of our seed. So exciting stuff. I think reading Genesis 15, knowing that he's a pattern, that Abraham is a type of Christ. Abraham is a descendant. He's establishing one of the authorities, or God establishes through Abraham, one of the authorities that Christ uses to save and bless us, or Christ inhabits or inherits to save and bless us. But also, then we're told that he is a model for us. And as parents, that should be encouraging, because one of the promises then is that God intends to bless our children. He intends to bless our lineage, and that's something that we can trust. And in fact, those promises become ours. They individuate to us. They become ours by faith. That we grasp those promises by trusting in the God who gave them. So, um, exciting stuff. Seeing our children uh, uh, as vessels of seed for the expansion of God's kingdom and the blessing of the world.